Well, good afternoon. It's 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and it is Mondays with Michael Live, but today is Tuesday. So thank you for hanging out with me on Tuesday. If you're watching this post session, thank you for watching. The reason why we're doing this today, Tuesday, and not Monday, is yesterday I was traveling. I did a harassment program for a new client in New York City. So I jumped on the train early in the morning here in DC, the Excella Express, which is a great little ride up and down here on the East Coast. I got to New York late morning, did my session, got back on the train later in the afternoon, and back home that night. So it was a one-day trip. Really good session. As I've mentioned a couple times in our sessions, we're getting a lot more calls for harassment training, whether it be online in the classroom. Lots of information on our website, so check it out. Also, I'll give you one commercial today. I'll give you this on the back end also. We will be doing an executive briefing on our new product, Everything Just Productive Conflict. It's been a product that's out there. Was in beta for a long time, but we're going to be doing a briefing with the publisher Wiley. That's on May 17th at lunchtime in the Tower Club. So if you have questions about that, if you're watching this post session, let me know and I'll get you an invite. But there'll be more about that on our social media posts. So today's session, we're going back around. So today's session is for really human resource directors and trainers mostly, but also for small business owners. Our session today is on corporate social responsibility. Why it is important to your business. Why it is important to your business. So we're going to talk about kind of the how to engage, some stories about engaging. We'll give you a little information about our foundation on the back end, and then some commercials for you and some information about our next session next Monday. We'll be going back to Monday next week. So CSR, corporate responsibility, why it's important, how to get started, where do I engage, what are some of the ideas I have. So let me go through my notes here. That's on my notes, and we'll get started. So if you really want to start getting involved in your community and doing something that's CSR, corporate responsibility related, you really need to have a plan. Like anything else in your business, you need to have a plan. So you have to decide on whether it's a time commitment of your organization, whether it's a financial commitment of your organization, or whether it's a skill base that you're going to give to a nonprofit or educational institution in your community. So what is the strategy here? Where do you want to engage and why do you want to engage? And there are a lot of ways where you can make this decision. Some decisions may be fairly natural to make. I'll give you a couple examples. If you're, the giant food chains or some of the food chains in Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C., donate to the local pantries to help the homeless and help others in need. So they're giving food because they're in the food business. They give food to a local nonprofit who runs these kitchens, if you will, and then those nonprofits distribute the food to the families. Now, sometimes organizations will help distribute the food to the families, but at a minimum, they're giving food because they're kind of in the food business, if you will, so they're donating food. There are a lot of restaurants in the Washington metropolitan area that at the end of the day give the meals and the food that they've prepared that they really don't want to throw away, and they prepared, they give those to the shelter, to the homeless shelter. So staff from the restaurants will go to the homeless shelter, and that's their corporate social responsibility. They're giving back to that community. They're in the food business also. But then in Northern Virginia and around the Beltway, we have a lot of clients and organizations that are in the government contract business. They're in the Department of Defense business. They work with the Pentagon, the Army, the Navy, the Marines. And so their corporate social responsibility is within that community. They give back to the soldiers, airmen, Marines, and they give back either to their families or they give back to the soldiers serving overseas, or they're doing something about building homes for them here. So they have an engagement in the that community, the military community. So that's their corporate social responsibility. Now within there are a lot of things you can do. There's money, there's time, there's leadership, there's expertise, and depending on what your company can give, big or small, you can give several different things. But it's always picking the right partner. The other way you can pick a partner to be your corporate social responsibility partner is sometimes organizations will pick something that affected somebody in the organization. So if somebody in your organization was affected by heart disease, that may be the issue or the organizations that you get involved in or the passion that you bring to the table. So it may not just be something that's related to your business. It could be something else that's related to your business, like someone in your organization has been affected by a particular disease or a particular cause, and that becomes the cause within the organization. So you want to have a conversation with this organization you're going to get involved in. You want to sit down with the leadership of that organization. You want to come up with a plan about how do you get engaged. So what do you want to give back? You want to donate time. So do your employees what we call sweat equity, get involved in the boards of those organizations? Do they go to the events to those organizations and help run those events? Are you giving time? Are your employees going there and working with the communities, working with the families, working with the students, depending what organization you're involved in? So are you going to give time? And a lot of organizations give time because, frankly, that's all they have is time. Or are you going to cut a check? Are you going to give a sponsorship to an event? Are you going to be a sponsorship at an arena? Are you going to give a sponsorship check so the organization can physically run its operation? So is it money you're going to give? Is there a particular expertise? We have folks that are involved in our family foundation that are accountants, lawyers, web designers, and that's what they give back to our foundation. They give back the skill expertise that's needed within the organization. So determine what you're going to give from a skill money perspective, and become a partner with that nonprofit organization. So then you want to monitor your progress. As you're developing this working relationship with this nonprofit or educational institution or other organization, it could be a faith-based organization, you need to monitor this relationship. Every so often you should do a check-in. How's it going? Are we meeting your needs? Are you meeting our needs? Or is this relationship working? How do we grow this relationship? As the nonprofit grows and your input helps, you'll see a huge benefit to that nonprofit. But you'll also see a huge benefit to your organization. How does it help your organization? Well, if you do a lot of on-campus recruiting, like a lot of our clients do, you'll find that millennials today and students on campus are very community-focused, very much want to be active in their communities. And this is a good way for them to join your organization because you have set a place for them to stay involved in a community. Organizations today that give back tend to be looked at a little differently. If you remember 10, 15, 20 years ago, corporate bigwigs were just trying to get profit and it's all about the bottom line. Not so much anymore. It's about your place in a community. And organizations like AT&T and Apple and Verizon need to get engaged in their communities. Their employees need to feel they're part of a community, and it helps with recruiting, it helps with retention, and it becomes the total picture for an organization. So if your organization is not involved in some type of community organization or activity, highly recommend it because it becomes a very, very good recruiting and retention tool. And you can put a lot of these millennials to work. They really like to get out there and get their hands dirty and get involved in the community. So find something that you're really passionate about and get them to help you. Okay, now a little about our family foundation. Most of you know, follow me on Facebook. We have a family foundation. Our daughter Nikki was diagnosed with medullary thyroid cancer coming up on 8 years in a couple weeks. And it kind of set a few things in motion for us. But Nikki was pretty adamant about starting a foundation. Fortunately for Sharon and I, we're very active in the community. A lot of Friends of Leadership Fairfax and all the business boards were involved in. And we had a lot of people that were affected by cancer that really wanted to give back. And we kind of harnessed that energy and started the Bimah Cancer Foundation in the fall of 2000. So this September will be 8 years old. And through this organization, Sharon and I feel that we're bringing a lot of our expertise, if you will, from our training solutions business, the starting and running a small business, to Bimah Cancer. Because Bimah Cancer now is like a small business. Other than not having staff, we have a full operation of fundraising, communications, finance and legal. We run our teen program. We run all through volunteers. There are about 45 or so volunteers that run Bimah Cancer. And if you were to ask them, I would believe they tell you that they feel part of something and they're giving back to something that's either affected them or they feel good about getting involved in. And we're actually quite happy with our results. We've been in business, as I said, almost 8 years. We've raised over $800,000 in the time we've been around. Most of that money goes to supporting teenagers fighting cancer across the country, and some of it goes to thyroid cancer research, and then a little bit we have just to run the operations of the business. We have a small office space that we're sharing, so we need a little money to run the business. So, but if you would ask those folks, they would say they like what they're doing, they see the results, and they want to stay engaged. So that's kind of the Bimah Cancer story. I see we're coming up to the end of the time here, so I do want to give you a couple of commercials. One, May 17th for the Productive Conflict. Hope you can join us at the Power Club. Just let me know. And then next Monday, we'll go back to Mondays at 4. Next Monday's session is going to be for supervisors, and we're going to talk about running successful meetings. So if you run meetings and they don't start on time and they run late and they're all confusing, come hang out with me next Monday in the room, and we'll talk about making meetings successful. That's it. Mondays with Michael Live. We'll see you next week. Take care.